So, welcome everyone to the second episode of Conscious Awakening. Today we have the lovely Monej Cruz of Pōtent Häbit. Do you want to do a little introduction about yourself?
Sure. What would you like to know?
Just your background in like spirituality and healing modalities.
Yeah. I've been doing healing work since about 2014, primarily as a Reiki healer. But then along the journey, I came across other modalities such as Theta healing and emotion code, which is what we're going to be talking about today. And so for the past, what has it been, about 4 years, I've just been immersing myself in learning and healing and helping others and growing as a healer and being able to be a clear vessel for healing for other people.
Yay! And we are currently in her healing room.
Yes, so welcome.
So welcome to Pōtent Häbit's healing room.
Yeah, this is going to be temporary. I'll have a new space come mid-January-ish. So maybe we'll do another podcast there on another subject. Would love to have you there because I'm really excited for that space. And then who knows what'll happen down the road if I know I'd love to have like a center or something, but baby steps. It's all good. As long as the healing's being done, that's all that matters, right?
Yep, it's all about baby steps.
Yeah, and a lot of it can be done remotely too. So, I think what I'll be doing more in the future is maybe not even necessarily having people come over as much, because the healing can be done from a distance just as well as it is if you were laying right here on this healing table. So
so let's just give a little background on how we met. So if you've been looking on my Instagram, I've been going to a lot of these aura photo classes, and funny enough, she sat next to me in one of the classes, and we actually have a lot of mutual friends.
Kind of close.
Yeah, we sat like this on the shoulders. And then, somehow we just clicked. Oh my God, so wait, when I did the aura photo with her, her aura was extremely yellow, which basically means empowerment. And one lady commented that she's never seen anybody so yellow, and she's been to like 15 aura photo classes.
I remember that lady. She's cute.
No, she's amazing. I love her. And so ever since that, I was like, man, I wanna get to know her a little bit more.
It's interesting because I walked in and I was like, I think this is Apollo's partner, because I worked with Apollo for years now from Marquee. I guess that's the other thing I should have mentioned is also I have like an alternate career, which is a cocktail server in a nightclub. So it's kind of night and day, what I do, but it's all good. It pays the bills, and it's provided me to be able to, learn and grow. But anyways, see how I can get sidetracked.
Oh no.
So I know walking into that, I was like, oh, so excited to meet you. I had seen you before, but we never had a conversation. And so that experience was my first time doing aura photos. And I just knew that was something that I needed to go and try out. And so it was because I needed to meet you, And so I think there's so much beauty in the things that become available to us that we're invited to in certain types of events, even though if you're kind of like hesitant, like, I don't know if I should do that or if I should go, I don't know, my energy's out. But sometimes if there's that inner voice that's like, no, there's a reason why you need to go.
You need to go.
Just try it, like just surrender and just do it. And that's exactly what the case was for me. But it was really cool. And I think right after we were like both messaging each other right away, like, it was so great. And we were like, oh, I was just going to say that. Well,
You're like, we need to meet up. We have literally the day after.
Figure out what our roles are for each other and like get this going, right?
Yeah. We literally met the day after at a coffee shop. Shout out that house. I'm just going to fix your mic real quick. Fix it. Okay. So last week, which is oh my gosh, there goes my brain. So we're here to talk about emotion code, which is actually what you did to me last week. Well, you had a session on me for my emotion code last week. So what exactly is emotion code?
Emotion code, okay. Can I give you a little, I just wanted to share this because I thought it was really interesting, because this kind of goes back to, again, when you have that inkling or if there are certain signs. So going back to about 3 years, I had heard about the emotion code and I just kind of dismissed it. And then I was on my way back from a trip to Hawaii, and my layover was in Los Angeles. So I'm sitting there, and there's this gentleman sitting next to me as I'm like waiting, and he's like talking to these other people about some type of healing modality. So of course my ear is like, oh my God, I want to hear what he has to say, but I didn't want to interject because I didn't want to take a spotlight or whatever, like, you know, just kind of ruin what they had going. So I was just kind of like listening, and then we got on the plane, and then that was when I finally was like, okay, I need to like say something. So I was like, I introduced myself, and he ended up sitting like in the next row, but like one row, like kind of like catty corner, right?
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, oh, I got to talk to you. And so it was actually about the emotion code. And so he was explaining it to me, and I was like, oh, this kind of sounds familiar, but I don't really know about it. And he too, just like the founder of the emotion code, is a chiropractor, and he learned about the emotion code and then decided to go that route in helping and healing people. But he even sent me a link like, oh, check this out, get the book or whatever. It was free at the time. I was like, check it out. And I kind of just dismissed it. And so I think it was one of those things, it was like the right thing that I needed to hear, but it was just the wrong time. And so fast forward, I think it was like a year or two later, I was doing a Theta course. And my teacher at the time had mentioned something about, you know, emotion code, and it stuck with me. Out of everything that I had learned for the Theta course, I was like, that one thing about emotion code, I was like, I need to get the book. And I downloaded the book, I read the book, and I self-taught myself, because anybody can get the book and just learn it, right? And so from then on, I was like, oh my God, this is something that I've needed in my life, because it resonates with me and how I want to help with healing people, right? And so I thought that was really cool, and I just wanted to share that, because sometimes, you know, if you're in that position right now where you like you know that you want to do healing work, or you don't know exactly what it is, what type of modality, and trust me, there's going to be a lot of different modalities that you try out and utilize, but if you have that inkling, or if something's like really resonating, or I just urge you to just like pick up the book of whatever it is and just start reading it, and kind of see your relationship with the information that is being delivered to you, and does it resonate with you, and try it out. And so that's exactly what happened with me. And as soon as I read it, I was like, I know I need to do it. And so there's what's called a heart wall. And so I cleared my own heart wall first. And I did a lot of self-healing first before I really kind of went out and practiced on other people. And then I decided, you know what, I need to get the course and just become certified. And so that's what I did. And now fast forward, we're here, but I did the emotion code on Rosemary last week.
Oh, it was amazing.
And yeah, and so to go back to what the emotion code is the emotion code is a modality of healing where you're able to identify trapped emotions, negative emotions, emotions that stem from tragedies, or, you know, past events that are, you know, didn't really resonate with us very well. And that energy can become trapped in different parts of our body, right? Or in our energetic space. And so what happens is those energies can produce physical ailments or pains, or blocks, energetic blocks in our life from being able to move forward, and many different things. So by identifying the trapped emotions and releasing them, removing them, you're able to kind of free up your energy and your space and your body, and move forward with the things that you really want to experience, and just have a great life. So, you know, just like any modality of healing, there's layers. And so it's not like this one time you come in and you're healed, you know, but you tackle certain things at a time. And if you have certain pains that are, you know, coming up or have been, you know, bothering you for some time, then those are, you know, those are the things that we look at first. And yeah, so with you, we did the heart wall, and then I asked you if you had certain pains, and curious to see how that's going. But you know, again, a lot of people will have instantaneous results, or their pain goes from like, say, a 7 to a 3 or a 0. And then some other people, you know, if they've had something for a very long time, perhaps, you know, it's going to take a longer time for that energy to kind of integrate and for you to feel better. But, you know, everyone's different. But everybody that I've worked on has had some type of like really cool shift. And those are the people that come back and they're just like, okay, what else is there? What else can I do with this? And there's so much you could do with the emotion code. And beyond that, there's the body code 2.0, which I'm looking forward to getting into. So that I can't really talk about today because I'm not well versed in it and I haven't tried it. But that, pinpoints more directly into like pathogens and toxins and misalignments of your bone structures, and there's just all kinds of really cool stuff. So we'll do that another time.
Yeah.
About the emotion.
It's funny because this is kind of like a follow-up from my session last week.
Yeah.
I mean, when you did that emotion code on me, there were a lot that were trapped, and the pains that I told her that I had were in my shoulders and in my lower back.
Yeah.
And so I actually filmed the wedding on Friday, and I did have pain, but normally before the pain would last like a couple days, but this time around it only lasted like a day, maybe like 24 hours.
Okay.
But it definitely wasn't as severe as it used to be. So I was like, oh,
awesome.
I wonder if it's from the emotion code.
Yeah. I mean, just to think about, like how long you've had these pains, right? And I don't have my notes in front of me, but I think there were things that kind of stemmed from, was it your childhood?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially.
Yeah. Yeah. So, to think about how long that energy, this ball of energy that's been vibrating in your body, right? It's taking its time on breaking up and leaving and stuff like that. And perhaps there's some other things that are still kind of in there that we need to kind of pull out. So it was like the first layer, and she had a really cool heart wall because it wasn't that many things. Usually there's like quite a few trapped emotions that are in there, but I think for you only had like 3 or 4.
Yeah, I had 3.
Okay, so I was like, okay, this is the least amount of trapped emotions I've had in a heart wall, but that's really good because that tells me you've been able to just kind of, they're kind of big things you had, but they're, for the most part in your life, you haven't really trapped too many things in your heart space, in your heart wall. So.
But I think it's also relating because I'm trying to heal myself as much as possible within the past couple months. Yeah. Ever since I started this whole spiritual healing journey. Yeah. And so, but it was still cool. I think I knew that was something I couldn't heal myself. Well, you helped heal. Well, you
just help facilitate it, right?
You facilitated it.
Yeah.
I was like, wait. So that's like a big thing too when it comes to healing. A lot of people have the misconception that you're doing the healing.
Exactly. And I'm so glad that you're bringing it up because that's such an important thing that I love to share with people is that, like, as much as people love coming to see me and they're like, oh, you're so cool, you're so amazing. It's like, awesome, thanks. But I'm really just the clear vessel. I'm like the between spirit or creator, or however you want to see it or call it, and the person, the client, right? And so it's just me being able to tune in to both spirit and the client and to be able to help facilitate the healing, right? And so a lot of times when I'm in a session and I'm channeling certain information, it's not coming from my thoughts or whatever. It's really me channeling the information and me knowing, like, I don't even know what this means a lot of time, but I'm just going to like say it because they're prompting me to say this information. And most times they're just like, how did you know that? Or that's crazy, or, and so, or I'll hear about it like the next week later, like, oh, remember when you said that? And I'm like, I see, I told you, I didn't know what it meant. And I know it would mean something for you, but that's usually how it goes. But it's not me.
Yeah. Which is an important part I wanted to stress on this whole podcast. It's like, it's not another person. It's definitely all you. You're just helping like magnify that connection. Yeah.
And by you showing up, you're saying, hey, I'm ready to do the healing. Yeah. I'm ready to identify what is it that I'm ready to face and say, you know what, I no longer, want that in my life, or, I release that. And I think with the emotion code, what's so important is that it just really kind of pinpoints certain things, right? And I think every modality is there to help bring things to the surface, but for whatever reason, the emotion code, I just resonate with it like so crazy because you can get down to the age at which you trap this emotion and, pretty much the scenario, what happened, and I don't know, it's just really cool.
Yeah, my earliest age was 3.
That
was like...
That was 3, right?
Yeah.
Did you remember that?
Yeah, that's when my parents got divorced.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
I mean, so, I don't care. I'll
I
say
can remember
everything.
since I was 2. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. But even with the emotion code, you can go as far back as inherited trapped emotions. So it's possible that you actually have trapped emotions in you right now, in your energetic field or in your physical body, that stem from either your mother's side or your father's side. It could be from your mother's side and then it was her father's side, and it could zigzag or whatever, and it can go back. We can pinpoint like how many generations ago was this trapped, right? And so I have to look back in my notes, but I did some healing sessions with someone else, and they they were able to pinpoint, it was like 30, I think it was like 30 some generations back on my mom's
Whoa.
mother's side.
That's a
and it
long
was,
time
it
ago.
was, I think the session, I was doing a body code session, and it had to do with like abundance, because you can work on certain things like, you know, opening up your abundance or calling in, you know, more whatever in your life, right? More happiness. And so I was like thinking about it, and I was like, you know what, I can kind of see the pattern, even just knowing my mother and my grandmother. And I was like, that kind of, yeah, I could see how that would continue to pass on in all those generations back. And so by identifying it and clearing it, guess what? I cleared it for myself, and I cleared it all the way back to whatever generation that is.
Oh,
that's
man.
freaking powerful.
That's
like
long.
that's super freaking cool, right? And then now I won't pass that on to my children.
Yeah, because it's cleared.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing I love about emotion code is that once it's cleared, right?
Once it's cleared, it's cleared. You're able to trap that same emotion for a completely new reason. And so it's really important, you know, now that you've experienced the emotion code, now you kind of get an idea of like, okay, moving forward, if there's ever a traumatic experience or something, of course, we're human. We're supposed to experience emotions, but we're also supposed to release them, right? And not trap them. So it's about doing the work. It's about, you know, all these different things that you're learning, like these spiritual methods or meditation and breathing. It's like all those things are going to come and help so that you're not trapping any emotions, hopefully, in the future. You know?
I just love emotion code because I feel like it's something that we all need because
absolutely.
all the stuff that we've been growing up in, like, there are definitely trapped emotions in everyone.
Oh yeah,
It's
our generation especially. I know that the youngest person doing the emotion code is 5 years old. From what I heard. I'm like that's gonna be my child.
Oh my God,
children,
you're gonna.
But I want to teach them everything because if we're able to release as much from ourselves before we even have children or along the way, and that reminds me, I'll go back to something right after I say this, you know, imagine how much freer our children are going to be, right? And I think that's going to be a whole part of like this next generation that's going to really kind of take this world a lot stronger and move it in a better direction because, you know, we're prepping the next generation for being more open to spiritual practices and thinking and belief, right? Than, you know, maybe our last generation. But you're able to trap emotions. You're able to trap emotions while in the womb as well. So that's another thing. So in the third trimester of your mother being pregnant, it was possible that she could have trapped some type of emotion and you inherited that way as well.
Oh yeah.
And another way is, let's say you're super empathic. I already know that. I think we're both kind of like where we can feel other people's emotions. You're just like, oh, and sometimes it can be like bothersome because you're like, I know it's not mine. Release it, you know, and you do what you need to do to release it. But, or you know, shield yourself. But sometimes I think it's really important for people to realize too is that if you're so closely connected to someone and you're feeling whatever it is that they're going through. So let's say it's a friend going through a divorce or a death or something, and you're just super, you know, like just empathic and just like taking on their emotions. You can trap that same emotion yourself.
Oh yeah.
So you have to be careful with, you want to be there for people and like help them, but also know that like, don't let that kind of run your life. You know what I mean? Because you just got to take it and you release it and you help them the best way that you can so that they're not trapping that emotion as well, but also for yourself. So I think it's really important to kind of understand all aspects of what a trapped emotion is and how that can be trapped. So
yeah, I mean, when we did our trapped emotion, it was something trapped that I didn't even cross my mind. What was it, like in middle school?
Yeah.
I forgot what the trapped emotion was, but it was relating to one of my best friends that I haven't talked to in years, and I was like, what the heck? That's so weird.
That happens every session.
There's just
there's always other people, and it could be like many, and people are like, I can't believe that's something that I would have like trapped, you know, on a subconscious level. You just were like, it affected you that badly that, you know, even in your mind, you might have been like, yeah, okay, I'm over it, and I move forward, you know, something energetic, and we're energy, right? So that's another thing to explain is everything is energy, whether it's this pen or my hand. When you magnify it to the degree of like looking at it at an atoms level, right? Yeah. We're all energy, and so are emotions. So emotions are just like a frequency, right? That we're able to feel and at the same time trap. So if it's something that's negative or traumatic or whatever it is, however you want to explain it, and it's not resonating as a positive energy, guess what? And you're not knowing how to release it, you're going to trap that. And so that's how it's explained, I guess. I don't know. I don't think I really explained that well, but you know, if you just look at energy and frequency and how it all kind of correlates and works together, I mean, that's like the scientific way or physics way of looking at it, you know. It's just, we're energy and emotions are energy, and that energy can get trapped and you have to release it. I don't know,
that's the biggest thing. You gotta release it. I mean, there's a lot of people that just have it stuck and or guard it, or they put up a wall.
Yeah.
And going back to heart wall. Did you describe what it exactly was?
So a heart wall is, if you think about your heart is like your second brain, right? And they say a lot of your emotions stem from the heart, right? Because you feel from the heart or whatever. But imagine these different things that happen in your life, these trapped emotions, and you want to protect your heart. So it's like your heart putting up this wall, right? So like this fortress. So if you have a heart wall, which most people do, they're built up of these different energies, of these trapped emotions that are really trying to protect your heart. They think they're protecting your heart, but they're really preventing you from being able to fully live, you know, a loving life and experiencing things that maybe, you know, would be a lot more fruitful, where if you did not have them. And so by identifying the heart wall first and removing those trapped emotions, your heart space, your second brain is just going to be so much freer, and you're going to be happier. And then you can go in through the body and look, okay, let's see what else is going on and what's trapped in different parts of the body that might be producing pain, or perhaps they get lodged. So let's say you trapped an emotion, right? And at that time, let's say you had a knee injury. So the trapped emotion energy likes to go where you have like the trauma or your weakest point. And so it could lodge there, and you could be like, why is my knee? I didn't do anything. I wasn't in a car accident. I didn't play sports. I didn't fall. I've never, you know, anything, but my knee always hurts. It's because most likely you probably have a trapped emotion in your knee, because at that time, for whatever reason, that's where it wanted to go as your weakest point. So by identifying all the trapped emotions in your heart wall, you're just like, so much, I don't know, you're just so much freer. I don't know. How do you feel now that your heart wall's kind of down?
I mean,
I know you've had a crazy week, but
I have been having I've had a crazy week, but I don't know. I just took it as like, now I'm more open to giving unconditional love and receiving unconditional love, because I don't have that wall to block anything.
And let's talk about, it's not necessary to identify what the wall is made of, right? But they do teach that we do tend to create some type of material that makes up that wall. And so with Rosemary, I was getting some type of tree, and I was getting redwood, and then she said sequoias, and she's been wanting to go there, and then sure enough, we tested for it, and yeah, it was a sequoia tree. So it's like interesting. So even on that level, on the subconscious level, we're able to work together and find out what in her mind, in her subconscious mind, what was her protective space, right? And so it was like all these trees that was like creating like this forest around her. That is what made her feel protected. And there's been some really super interesting things that people have created as their heart wall. Like, for example, I had someone who had...
Didn't somebody have bubbles?
Bubbles? Holographic bubbles. And they're all different like sizes. And I had someone who had crowbars. I had someone who had prison cell, bars. I've had flowers. I've had bamboo. There's been all kinds of like really cool different things, but yeah, the bubbles, that was a fun one. And there's also like an amount, so we can test for like, okay, so if it was trees, like how many trees, and so we find how many trees, because the point of that is with each trapped emotion that we're taking down from this heart wall, they all have like what's like a worth, right? So if you had 100 trees, right, then maybe the first emotion was 30 trees. So then by removing that, you're removing 30 trees from the 100 trees. And then you continue to go until you get to 0. And so that's an indicator like, okay, heart wall's down. Yeah. And it is possible to have a hidden heart wall as well. So
I didn't have one, I think.
No, we tested for that. Yeah. I like to make sure that there's nothing
So yeah, going back, so about testing, how exactly do you find out like what it's made out of, or like what even emotions or age where it stems from?
Yes, so the finding out what it is, it's really just kind of, I rely on my intuition and tapping into that, right? But then to really kind of confirm, I like to use my pendulum. So in emotion code, we use muscle testing. And so I don't know if you guys are aware, but there's like a certain muscle testing where if you have your arm out and you basically can make statements. So like if you said, my name is Rosemary, or let's say, let's connect in. So connect in, give me permission to allow to connect into you. I've already connected in earlier, but for the purpose of this podcast. And so then you put your arm out and then you make statements. And so let's go ahead and make a fist here. And have it strong, but not too strong. And so you have the other person make a true statement and a false statement. And when you get a true reading, their arm stays pretty solid. And when you get a false reading, their arm is weakened. So if I say, my name is Rosemary.
My name is Rosemary.
Okay, so she's strong, so that's a yes. And say, my name is Monej.
My name is Monej.
Okay, so it's like lessons. I am 16 years old.
I am 16 years old.
Okay, yes. Totally a lie. But she's not that much older than that, right? So that's basically, that's muscle testing. There's other forms of muscle testing. I know some people use their fingers, there's different ways, there's different things that you can do. For me, there's something about using a pendulum, and because I've been doing it for about 4 years now, that I just can get like super accurate, clear results. I have played around with the muscle testing, and I did speak to some other people who have been doing emotion code for a while, and I asked them, I go, do you do the whole, the arm muscle testing? And they're like, usually I'll just do it just to get the baseline, just to test to see if we're connected in and if they're testable. And then from there, it's like, okay, we've connected. I already know you're testable. Let's proceed. And then they do their way that is comfortable for them. So I'm still kind of working on this, the yes and no. But because I've been working with the pendulum and I've read that it is okay to use that, I just continue to use that. And oftentimes I think because I've been doing work so much through Reiki and other things, is that even I'll get the answer like
right away.
Away. So it's like, I think there becomes a point too for a lot of people when they're comfortable with it, and when they're able to tap in very clearly, is like you can be like, okay, there's columns and rows where you can identify which emotion it is. Maybe we should talk about that too.
Yeah.
And so it's even happened in a Reiki session where I'm like, in session, and then I'm getting trapped emotion. I'm like, really? Am I able to do this during the Reiki session? They're like, yeah, trapped emotion. I'm like, okay, which column? Column A. Which, And I'm like, okay. And I don't have the chart fully memorized, but then after I looked at the chart and I was like, I had to ask you, like, and we tested for it, and she was like, oh my God, yeah. And it was valid. And so I was like, whoa, that's so crazy that I'm able to like mix.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even trying, it was just coming in. That information was coming in. So sometimes it's like, if you're really tuned in, you could just you just know, right? So I think that was really cool. But I guess I'll go back to this chart. And you're not going to be able to see it, but there's column A, column B, there's 6 rows. And so what you test for is, is there a trapped emotion ready to be released now? And you get a yes. If you get a yes, then you ask, is it column A or is it in column B? And so there's like a really easy, fast way that I can do it. And then you go through the rows, and then basically, you pinpoint whatever it is in that column in that row.
Wait, I got a question.
Yeah.
Would it be an inconvenience for you to actually do one?
No,
right now?
let's go ahead and do that. And I'm gonna get my.
I forgot to ask you before we started, but
no, actually, and let's do let's try an inherited. Let's see if you have an inherited trapped emotion, right?
Okay.
I'm sorry, my browser was falling.
No, you're good.
All right, let me see.
I'm just trying to see if my mic is still good. All right, cool.
Mic's still good?
Yep.
Okay, cool. You just let me know when you're ready, and we will proceed.
I'm just gonna talk real quick because I haven't looked at my levels, but I'm good now. It's all good.
Okay, so I guess I should say, so the first thing you do is you ask if there is, well, first you try to see if the person's testable, right? Once you're testable, Rosemary's testable, we're able to proceed. And then it's always about, are we able to remove a trapped emotion at this time? And then if the body says yes, then we proceed, and then I pinpoint. And then after, so you're probably like, well, then what do you do with that after? So then they have these really cool magnets, and you don't have to use this one, but I got it because the creator, Dr. Bradley Nelson, recommended it, and I just like, oh, this looks really cool and fun. I could just be like sitting wherever and like playing with it. But the reality is you can use anything, like just a regular magnet off of your kitchen refrigerator. And then even beyond that, even if you don't have a magnet, is you can use your fingers, because your fingers have energy in them, right? And then even with me, like I always turn on my Reiki before, doing a session, just because I want the energy to be present and clear. But I can even just with the Reiki and just with my hands being on, clear it that way. And so in our bodies, we have meridian lines. And down the middle, we have the governing meridian, right? And so the energy that gets passed through there kind of branches off to all the other meridians, and so they match up with that. I think that's the right way to explain that. And so by using a magnet or by using the energy in your fingers, you're able to like reset that energy and clear it out. And with the intention, and I'll say with anything that you do, there's always intention. And there's always belief too on the part of the client. Like Rosemary could have came over and the whole time she could have been like, I don't believe this. I don't think it's going to work. I don't believe it's not going to work.
You're skeptic about it.
Very skeptical. Yeah. And I'll have to say that I think most times with people that are skeptical and don't want to believe, it's going to be that much harder for the healing process to occur. It's like inviting someone over, or someone inviting you over, right, to their house. And they're like, yeah, I really want you to come over and heal me. And then you get to the front door and you're like, I'm here. And then they're like on the other side of the door, they're like, well, I don't know if I'm ready for you to come in. And you're like, okay, well, I'm on the other side of the door. Like, are you gonna let me come in? I have these like really cool cookies, and it's like you not letting that other person in, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's possible to do it from the outside, but most likely, guess what's going to happen? Like that interaction, that true interaction of letting someone, into your space, it's like, yeah. So that's why I always try to call in like the clients that are really truly ready, right? Because I don't, not that I don't want to work with any skepticals. I think I actually do, because I want to just be like, wow them. But I really want people to show up and be ready for it, because I want them to have a really beautiful experience and walk away and being like, that was really cool, right? So along with, using the intention of clearing trapped emotions, it's also the belief in, okay, we are resetting, and it's you taking that time in and being like, okay, I've identified that was from middle school, from, my friendship with that person. I no longer want it. Let's reset, And so the intention behind that is the energy, you connecting to the universe and saying like, I no longer want to align with that, right? So yeah, that's that. And then it's done. And like we said earlier, that trapped emotion can never come back for that same reason. However, let's say next year you have the same.
Why is it not red? Oh no. Technical difficulties. So we only lost 4 minutes. We've been recording for 34 minutes. Oh my God, that was
Maybe it was when we were resetting. I don't know what happened.
That was weird. Maybe it's because we were showing this at the GoPro. Oh no.
No, maybe they were like, you're not ready for this. I'm kidding. Oh.
Should we not do it? Oh my God, guys.
We cannot be afraid. No fear.
No
fear. The world needs to hear this information.
Okay.
Maybe it's how I'm explaining it.
Ask your guides if you're ready. Guides. Like, should you be doing this right now?
Well, I called them in to help, because I'm really just speaking from whatever they want me to say, you know what I mean? Half the time I'm just like, stuff's coming out of my mouth, and I'm like,
that was weird.
It sounds about right. But
the light turned off.
Talking about this, it's like very new. I did a living room talk a couple months ago with a friend, Chrissy, and she wanted me to talk about the emotion code as well. And again, I'm fairly new compared to a lot of people that are out there doing it, that are probably talking about it on podcasts and videos and such. But, you know, I've really had to just say, you know what, I'm not going to have any fear. I just got to like step into it. And maybe I'm not explaining it the best way. But the fact that maybe there's something that you're hearing or listening to or watching is like resonating with you, if that piques your interest and if that makes the change, it creates the change in you in wanting to dive more deeply into healing or to being, you know, more open to receiving a healing session, then that's what it's all about. So don't claim to be any kind of expert or guru on the emotion code or Reiki or anything. I'm really just kind of in this journey of learning. And even when I'm, gosh, I wonder if I'm going to ever be 95 years old. But if I'm ever 95 or 115 or 130 years old, doing this kind of work, you know, I don't ever think I'm going to be, you know, like an expert. I don't think we ever are, you know what I mean? I think we're just here for the journey and learning more, and there's so much deeper into it. I mean, by then I'll know a lot, but
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't ever want to be the expert in anything, because I don't think there is such thing as a expert.
Well, I mean, expert is, it's funny you say that, because like my job is all about experts. I do believe that you are an expert, but it's because you have that passion, you have that drive to always learn more.
Yes.
And just comparatively, you are an expert at what you do.
Yeah, compared to maybe someone that doesn't know. But,
yeah.
But you know what I mean? I don't know.
I mean,
it's just that word, just for whatever. Maybe that's something that's a trapped emotion that needs to be
maybe you
released
don't
from
like,
myself.
You just don't
it's
like
a
that
block
word.
from preventing me from moving forward. See, you're seeing it firsthand right here.
Yep. I was like, oh my God, that thing is still blinking red, right?
Oh
yeah, if you're just listening to the audio version, we had some technical difficulties.
But I think maybe that's why it stopped. They're like, wait, let's reset. How are we going to do this here? And how come that light turned off? Because that was really good lighting.
Oh, yeah, so my battery died.
Oh.
I actually saw it.
Is it like
No, it's all good.
Another kind of battery that I might have that you need?
No, it's like a self-charging, but it's okay. Things happen for a reason.
Now we're in this light.
Now we're in still the beloved daylight, but it's going down because it's sunset.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Do I have any other kind of light?
No, you're totally fine.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So I don't know what we lost, what it didn't record, but I guess just I'll reiterate. So we
we recorded an audio, but not video.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're fine.
Okay.
It'll just be a black box for doing that 4 minutes of
interesting.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to see how this all works, because I have no knowledge of this.
It's okay, I'm learning too.
Awesome. So we're going to go ahead and identify if you have any inherited trapped emotions. How about that?
Well, sounds good.
All right. Another thing I guess I'll say is through my Theta teacher, she gave me this list of emotions to replace the trapped emotions. So I've done some research on it. It's not included in the emotion code
booklet
certification or in the book. However, there is this list of really good positive emotions that she gave me, that she was like, this really works for me. And I've read, other people, it's worked for them. So there's kind of like a controversy of, do you use them? Do you not? It's not necessary, but I kind of really resonate with, why not infuse someone with really good emotions? It's not going to hurt anyone, right? Mm-hmm. And I find that it really kind of helps with the integration process. So even though if there are people that are, dealing with some big things that we removed, I find that their process of, kind of integrating that information and that healing and releasing those negative trapped emotions, that it's a lot easier for them to just kind of move on with their day. Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and see. So I use my pendulum, and then once we identify, I'm just going to show you the process. Right?
Yeah, just do like a mini one.
So let's see. Share yourself-knows, does Rosemary have an inherited trapped emotion? So I'm getting a yes. Let's see. So is it in column A? Is it in column B? B in an odd row? B in an even row? B1, B3, B5. So in B5, so there's 5 emotions. Once you get to that box or column and row, there's 5 trapped emotions, and then typically should be one of the 5. If you're doing like regular, just identifying trapped emotions in the heart wall or in the body, and you get to these 5, right, that are in that section, and you're getting like a weird answer or no, then that could be a big indicator that it's an inherited trapped emotion. But when we're going straight to an inherited trapped emotion, so it's going to tell me. So column B, row 5. So is it conflict? Is it creative insecurity? Is it terror? Is it unsupported? Is it wishy-washy? So unsupported. So unsupported is coming out. And then you are how old again?
26.
26. So I like to break that up. You take the person's age, and it's okay to ask someone's age in this context because you really want to kind of help the person figure out when this happened. So I take the age and I cut it in half, and then I go, you'll see from there. So the trapped emotion, the inherited trapped emotion, or what am I doing? See, I'm getting tripped up now. You didn't trap this at a certain age, see?
Ah, yes. We're doing inherited.
I blame it on the podcast.
Sorry.
Kidding.
Yeah, I did catch her off guard by asking her to do one.
No, but it's good. I was like, wait a minute, something's not right. I'm like, check this again. Okay, so we got unsupported. So let's see. Is it the mother or the father's side? Father's side. Okay, is it from the father's side? Father's mother's side? Okay, does it zigzag? So I'm getting like, so it's, you got it directly from your father, right? But then from your father's, he got it from his mother. Mm-hmm. And so typically when you see kind of that pattern, I can straight ask like, is it a zigzag? So you've had this trapped emotion of unsupported stemming directly from your father, but then from his mother's side. Do you know those 2 generations pretty well? Like your father and then his mom?
But, so my father, when they divorced, I haven't like talked to my father at all. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know any of his generations or like if he was unsupported or felt unsupported.
Right. Have you felt unsupported in your life?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was a divorce, and so he's like never sent me birthday cards. That sounds so sad. but yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy. So yeah, and I mean, if I'm going to break it down like on that kind of level, it's like perhaps it was easier for him that way to be that way because he was unsupported. Mm-hmm. So he doesn't know how to be supportive. Learned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can kind of identify with that a little bit. So let's see, how many generations does that go back? Does it go back more than 10 generations? No. More than 5 generations. Okay, can you please show me 5 to 10? Is that 6 generations? 7. 6 generations. So 6 generations back. You've had this inherited trapped emotion that's stemming back from 6 generations prior to you of being unsupported. So imagine all these decisions that your ancestors have had to deal with, right? And them not being supported and then moving along their ways and passing that along and kind of interrupting or interfering with, being able to have a really full, loving life, right? And so let's go ahead and remove that from you because we certainly don't want you to have that trapped in yourselves. You want to feel so supported on many, and it could be on many different levels. It's supported by your partner, by your friends, by people at work, by your guides even. You know what I mean? So it's possible if you've been in that place where you're like, I'm so stuck, I don't know if I have guides, I don't know if they're really helping me, and questioning and doubting. It's because you have this trapped emotion of unsupported, and so you feel like no one's really there to help me. I don't really have angels and guides that are helping me. So we're gonna get rid of that. And for me, I'm going to show you how I'm going to, so we're going to put supported, encouraged, and defended. Okay? So you go to the back, and let's see if I can go around. I'll go around.
Go around. Don't trip over.
And I'll do this with a magnet. So you do this with a magnet. I think you can see. And you start at the base of their neck, and you go all the way down, like their spine, all the way down to like the bottom of their back, right? And for inherited trapped emotions, I'll center here. For inherited trapped emotions, you want to roll it down 10 times. So with just regular trapped emotions, it's 3. I like to do like however many, like I'll just be like, no, keep going. I don't know.
Until you're
it's
like,
just
okay.
Weird. It's just my thing. You kind of make it your own thing, right?
Yeah.
So, but for the purpose of clearing inherited trapped emotion, it's always 10. Don't ask me why. That's just what they told us. All right. So let's see. Again, we're going to go with supported, encouraged, and defended. So I like to use, here's another thing. Before I feel like I need to be like right here. So again, there's ways that I like to do things, right? And so I turn my Reiki on, so I have the Reiki energy going. It's not needed, but I just like to have that on, right? And then also incorporating the Theta. When doing any type of work like the emotion code, it's really important to connect in and pray and do that beforehand, but also like at any point during the session, right? And I know that Dr. Bradley Nelson is big on prayer. And so for me, I like to incorporate that while I'm taking or removing the emotions out of the body. So I like to incorporate the Theta part of it, right? From what I learned. So I just wanted to explain that. So when I go back there and you hear what I'm saying, it's the Theta.
We'll hear everything.
All right, so listen. I'm talking way too much. All right. Let's see. That's far. Okay. So, true creator of all that is, through the true seventh plane of existence, it is commanded that the trapped emotion of unsupported in Rosemary, which is an inherited trapped emotion, be completely cleared and removed and replaced with the emotions of supported, encouraged, and defended in the highest and best way. Now, thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done, it is done, it is done. And I kind of lost count, so I'm just going to like, let's see, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 1 for extra credit. Right? Let's take a deep breath in. Another thing they don't like, not that they don't like that, another thing they don't say is, you know, what you do, you know, how you instruct the client after. But I like to let the client like take a really nice deep breath in.
Yes.
Release it, because a shift just occurred, right? That energy was just released. And so even for myself, sometimes I feel, and I'm just like, oh, okay, that was a big one. Sometimes the client will hear me say, that was a big one, because I could feel it like, man, that needed to come out big time. So then you always want to make sure that that was released. And they always are, but it's just part of the process. So let's see, my true self knows as the trapped emotion of unsupported in Rosemary. So I'm getting a no. So, and you can ask different ways if you feel like you need to, but I'm getting a no. So awesome. We just removed unsupported from you, trapped inheritedly from like 6 generations back. Right? Isn't that cool? Do you want to go for another one?
Yeah, we can do one more.
Okay, let's see. My true self knows, is there inherited trapped emotion in Rosemary? So I'm getting a yes. Is it in column A, column B, A in an odd row, A in an even row? Is it A2? Is it A4? A6? All right, so is it anger, bitterness, guilt, hatred, resentment?
I saw your pendulum.
Yeah. She's like, yep, that's the one. So with that one, we're going to go ahead and replace with forgive, tolerant, compliant, and peaceful. So let's see. Is this from the mom or dad's side? Again, dad's side. Okay. Is it from dad's mom or dad's side? Dad's side. Is it from the grandfather's mom or... Okay, so mom's side. And then from her side, was it mom or dad? Interesting. Does it go back to the... And then the one before that. Okay, so how many... So I'm getting... It's interesting. I'm getting your dad and his dad. And then his mother and her mother. So let's see. Is that the pattern? Is every 2? Yes. That's interesting, right? Let's see how many generations this goes back. Is this more than 10 generations? More than 20? More than 15? Okay, between 10 and 15. Can you please show me? Is that 14? Is that 13? 14? 14. 14 generations back, resentment.
Damn.
Yeah, so Don't need that. Take it
Don't need
out.
that anymore.
Let's go.
Man, I just feel like I.
All right, resentment. Okay. So, true creator of all that is the true seventh plane of existence. It is commanded that the trapped emotion of resentment in Rosemary, which is inherited 14 generations back, be completely cleared and removed and replaced with the emotions of forgive, tolerant, compliant, and peaceful in the highest and best way. Now, thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done. It is done. It is done. And I don't know how many I've done. What we will do. 1, 2. She's getting a massage here.
Pretty much.
Boom.
Cool. Now take a deep breath, right?
Take a deep, deep breath. Oh, resentment.
Oh man. I'm not surprised at that one.
Let's see, mature self. Has this trapped emotion of resentment been completely cleared and removed from Rosemary? Is there another reason why she has? Okay, and that's another thing that you can do is also you can test, like, is there another reason why perhaps she has the trapped emotion of resentment? And it could be yes. You can get a yes answer. And it could be, oh, something that happened 5 years ago. And it was something from work and, you know, whatever. And you're like, oh my God, I didn't realize that would have been whatever. But by identifying an inherited trapped emotion, you can find trapped emotions, and then vice versa. By, you know, doing trapped emotions, you can find inherited. So it's pretty cool.
Wait, so say yes or no?
Oh no, yeah, you don't have any.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah,
Okay,
good.
I caught. All right, so we actually have about 7 more minutes left.
Wow,
We didn't
that much time.
I know. I know. We wanted to touch on root cause, but you know, when you move into your new place, maybe that's what we'll talk about.
I think we'll do that. Well, I mean, I don't really have a whole lot to say about that. Other than the fact that, you know, I know that there's, I don't know if I would call it a new modality of healing, but perhaps it is. But I've just had this really strong visions and ideas of creating something called root cause. It's a word that just I keep saying and hearing. And I think for my purpose as being a clear vessel for healing is I want to help people heal, but I want to help people heal in the best way possible, where they're absolutely certain and they see the results and they're feeling the results and they're absolutely sure themselves, and it's not taking years for it to happen. It's happening at a much faster rate just because it's that much more concise. And so with root cause, it's really getting down to the root cause of why we have certain things playing out in our life, whether it's from a physical level, emotional level, a mental level, a spiritual level, but really kind of getting down to the root cause. So you're not going from doctor to doctor or psychiatrist or therapist to therapist, and just even, you know, having like this session and that, and then like a year later being like, well, I don't really know if that really did anything. But no, let's get down to it. Like, I want you to come to me, and I want to be able to help you with these things. And just like a year from now, you just be good. And maybe you don't even need my services because you're good.
Yeah,
you know,
like that's it.
That's it. Like, you know, and you do your self work, right? But it really resonated with me when a friend of mine went to a naturopath, and he pretty much said the same thing. She went in, she saw him, and he says, listen, you know, I have this crazy questionnaire of questions, and I'm going to spend some time with you here today, but that's because I really don't want to see you again. Not in a bad way, but I don't want you to come in 20 different times for me to heal you when let's figure this shit out. Excuse my French, but let's figure this shit out. Like, and maybe you only come to me 3 times. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to put a number on it because there's obviously layers, and there's only so much healing you can do because there's such thing as a healing crisis. Like, I'm not going to have you come in and like
do everything
like
at once.
50 trapped emotions and inherited trapped emotions. Like, that's just an overload. But if I know deep down there's a way where I'm going to be able to integrate the emotion code and the body code and Theta and Reiki and aura photos and, you know, massage or whatever, and just like combine them. Or perhaps maybe something will come to me, you know, and I'll get that information and one day, and they'll just be like, this is what you're supposed to deliver to the world. So I don't really know. This is such a new journey for me, but I'm just so appreciative and grateful and thankful that the emotion code was developed, and that it was something that was very readily available to me, and that and that I'm able to share that with so many different people. And I just really hope that I can take this and grow my company, and at the same time just help people around the world. Like, I don't want to be limited to just Las Vegas. And I think that was a big thing I had in a recent reading with a teacher of mine, because I know for a long time I really wanted to be a naturopath. And she explained to me, she goes, you know, that you could do that, but the reason why it hasn't happened for you is because you're supposed to be out there on a more grander scale. You're supposed to reach people all over the world, and by being limited to just being a naturopath, you're going to just be focused on this building in Las Vegas with however many clients, and you're just going to be so inundated with just that small group of people, which is fine. There's people that are, you know, that's what they're supposed to do. But she goes, but for you, you need to have a voice and like be out there for everyone to see. And I was like, okay, that sounds really fun. Cool. How am I going to do it? So, you know, even when you invited me to this podcast, as much as I was kind of afraid a little bit at first, because I was like, well, I don't know what to say. I don't even know if I'm going to explain it right. I don't know, you know, but I was like, I really had to just like, as much it was going to hurt me, you know, maybe just preparing, it was just like, just do it, you know, and the rest will follow. And that's like one of my mottos, is just believe, and the rest will follow. And so we'll see, you know, it'll be really fun to like look back at this podcast in like 5 years. And I'll be like, Rosemary, let's watch that, or let's listen to it. Remember when we started? And then hopefully we'll have these like this arsenal of really cool videos and podcasts where we're just like, holy crap, look at the amazing things we've helped other people with, you know?
Yeah, and that's what I hope to do with this podcast, just help other people.
Absolutely, that's what it's all about, you know? We're here on a mission.
Oh, it's 58 minutes. All right. Well, tell everyone where they can find you on the internet.
You can find me at www.PōtentHäbit.com. You can find me on Instagram at Pōtent Häbit. Facebook, I need to get a lot better with that.
It's okay. Instagram and a website are all good.
I'm in Las Vegas, but like I said earlier, not limited to working with anybody just in Las Vegas. We can work by phone or by video chat. So if you're interested, all my information is online. You can reach out to me, and I look forward to helping you heal or helping you grow. And thank you, Rosemary, for giving me this opportunity to have a voice.
Thank you for coming. I'm definitely looking back at these and going, oh, what do I need to work on for my speaking? Because that's something I'm working on.
Yeah, same here. Because as you know, I can go on many different tangents. That was
no, you were great.
My
biggest
thing.
God. Yeah, everything just flowed. But yeah, let me know if you want to try emotion code and why, or maybe why not, you wouldn't do it. Yeah. And watch out for the next episode. Bye.
Bye.